this is all about you, all about creating success for you in your life. So the more I know, the more I can help you.
I'll chime in. I think for me personally, kind of on both ends of the spectrum, both personally and professional. I think professionally is I feel like there's like that next level, but I can't bust down that barrier. It's like it's not that I don't think I deserve it or anything like that, but it's like I might be fighting it or overthinking it too much in the sense of it's just like, man, like I know, like I serve others well. I always try to over deliver. I always, I guess, try to do the right thing, so to speak. And it's like, maybe I look at it from a time standpoint too much of when is it going to happen? When is that big floodgates going to open? There's kind of been this consistent growth, but I feel like that there's this whole nother level that I haven't even touched yet. And it's like, how do I get to that stratosphere, that next level, from a business standpoint. And then from a personal standpoint, a little bit about me, and now there's a lot of question marks as far as in my personal life. Kate and I, she's back in Dallas, so it's figuring out those answers. Almost how do we reconnect again? Because we spent a year here in Alabama. She was in New Jersey, then Alabama, now back in Texas. So it's like, try not to worry, try not to think too much, but connect those dots to get us back together. So that's probably the two things for me, both, personally and professionally.
Okay, great. So just to let you know, Ryan and I know each other. He's amazing. He was a student in one of my classes previously, and he's awesome. Ryan, one of the things that I'm thinking as you're talking, you may have some stuck emotions or some core beliefs that you haven't uncovered yet. So for those of you who don't know me, I have been studying quantum physics for about 30 years. I know I don't look that old, right?
Spring chicken.
So just to tell you,
if they don't holler in here.
Okay, I'm gonna mute everyone so we don't have the background noise. But if you want to unmute yourself, please feel free to do that. Okay. So I'm just gonna look here and make sure that I can mute everyone. Okay, so if you want to speak, if you want to ask a question, because this truly is all about you today. If you want to speak, you want to ask a question, unmute yourself and please do that. But as I was saying, so about 30 years ago, when I was finishing college, starting my career, I had grown up in a very abusive home, the full range of abuse that you could imagine, a lot of violence and a lot of trauma from the time that I was 4 or 5 years old until I, as I would say, escaped and moved across the country. And I was really struggling. I was not having the success that I wanted. I was unhappy. I was angry and depressed. And so I started looking for what were solutions for me that I could use. And I I started working with shaman and reading all kinds of books on quantum physics and how to shift the energy of your life. And it really resonated with me. I'm not saying that I'm smart enough to truly be somebody who is a quantum physicist. And one of the greatest quantum physicists in the world, Richard Feynman, says, if anyone tells you they understand quantum physics, they don't understand quantum physics, because it's so much bigger than we are. But I started studying it, and I started playing around with it, and I started trying to use it in my own life. And I noticed that things were getting easier. Believe me, and I'm still not perfect today. And in those early days, I definitely was not perfect. But I started seeing that there was something to it. So I used it more and more, and crazy things would happen. Like, I didn't have the money to buy my first home, and then all of a sudden I did. Things like that showing up, experiences showing up. Ronald Reagan's team calling and asking if I would be involved in something he was doing. There was no reason that he should have done that. So all of these things just sort of happened in my life. And then about 12 or so years ago, I started really using what I had learned with my clients. Secretly at first, because I was afraid people would think I was crazy. But then I started working with clients, and I would reveal to them that if they would learn and try to use what I was using, perhaps they could have their own massive success. And that's how this formula evolved. And I know it works because I've had people who've had massively crazy experiences with it. And I'm not going to, go into a ton of testimonials right now, because you're here to learn, not to, hear me brag. But, I've had clients who've talked about shifting their relationships, shifting their lives, losing massive amounts of weight, creating revenue. A couple of the clients that you've probably read about, if you've read anything about me, one who really jumped in and used this material was a woman named Nadia. And when she and I first met, she hadn't made any money at all in 12 months. We did our first clearing together. We started working together, and she, 12 months later, had turned that $0 revenue into $602 million. Now, I'm not promising you $602 million, but those are the kinds of experiences that a lot of the people who started using this formula have achieved. Like John that you see here on the screen, he 10x'd his revenue in 6 months by learning to shift the energy. And as I said, this is Nadia, the one who increased her revenue $602 million. As insane as that sounds. By the way, I'm going to send you all these slides so you don't have to take notes. And if you want to hear her in her own words, there's actually a YouTube video. So, and I know, Ryan, you've had a chance to experience some of this, so if you want to jump in at any point, feel free to jump in and share your experiences or ask your questions. Okay? All right, so what are we going to do today? First of all, we're going to talk about what practical quantum physics is, how to pierce the quantum veil, how to take yourself out of what we're in right now and access that energy, what the 3-step formula is, what the 2 big questions are that I ask every day. And Ryan, can you tell me what's the #1 question?
Oh, is it what's underneath that?
What's under that? That's right. That's the big one. But there's one more. And then at about the 30-minute mark, I want to take you into a guided trip into the quantum field. So we'll do that. It'll last probably 20 to 30 minutes. If you need a bio break before that, I would suggest that you excuse yourself and just have a quick bio break and come back before we get into the quantum field. So that you're not distracted by your body. And then we're going to open it up after that for some Q&A. I know 90 minutes is a long time for these kinds of things, but I want you to get real value out of it. So we'll move along with that. So at some level, everyone has self-doubt. They believe they're not good enough. And I will tell you that in my 30 years of working with clients around the world, I've never encountered anyone who didn't have some form of I'm not good enough or I'm not enough. And that's a huge block to moving forward. So we want to clear that out. Others, I'm not smart enough, or because of something about me, I'm too fat, I'm too ugly, I'm too pretty, I'm too something. I can't have the success that everyone else has. We grow up with a lot of these things. It's not that the people who teach them to us are bad. It's just what they were taught. Things like girls can't be as successful. I grew up with that one. Girls can't be as successful and can't win at sports. And, real men don't do certain things. They don't cry or they don't show emotion. So part of what we want to do is we want to get beyond that. We want to get to the source of who we are. So part of the biggest piece is we want to get to the root. And as Ryan said, what's under that? If you believe that you have to struggle, or that the economy is bad, or that one of the things that I learned growing up was that I wouldn't be able to have financial success without a man. I learned that starting at about 5 years old. And I believed it for a long time because I thought the people who were teaching it to me knew what they were talking about. So any of these things that are affecting your life, you may not realize. It's only been actually within the last probably 6 months for me that I realized in a traumatic situation, I learned to keep money away from myself. I was taught to keep money away from myself because I was a girl and I needed a man and I couldn't do it all on my own. And, as I said, I've been doing this for 30 years. I would have thought that I would have uncovered that at this point, but I do what I teach. And I kept going, okay, what's under that? What's under that? And I realized that there was a moment, an experience that embedded that in my body. And I needed to release it before the level of success that I have helped clients create could be a part of my life. So one of the things that we want to talk about today is what are the things that you may not be aware of that are keeping success from you. And we're going to go through the 3-part formula to help you get beyond those things. Everybody with me so far? Okay, good. So most of us live with some level of fear, whether it's, not being good enough or not, fear that you're not going to be able to pay the bills or that your spouse is going to leave you or whatever it is. There's some level of fear that affects all of us. And fear is like an electrical storm in your life. So for those of you who are old enough to remember the old, radios, and there would be an electrical storm and you would hear the electricity popping, but you wouldn't be able to necessarily hear the show. What was happening is that interference was blocking the transmission and reception of the programming, whether it was music or a show or something. That's the exact same thing that fear does in your life. So let's say you want something, you want to create something, and you're sending out into the universe. You're using your mind and you're sending out into your universe and you're saying, I really want this. I want this more than anything. When you are feeling fear, the fear interrupts what you're sending out. And when you're receiving what's coming back, the fear interrupts that as well. So here's how it works. Your mind and your brain send out the messages to the universe. So you've heard the concept of thoughts create things. So your thoughts are sending out, and your feeling in your body is like a magnet pulling it in. And when you're feeling fear, it interrupts the transmission in both directions. And the universe is trying to send you, or source, whatever you want to call it, is trying to send you what you're asking for, but it gets confused by that fear. So we definitely want to clear that out. And, you may be thinking, well, I know a lot of people who are creating what they want and they don't have any fear. People aren't showing up at events, barbecues, family situations and saying, I'm really afraid. People are showing up with a smile on their face saying, when somebody says, how are you? Oh, life is good. I'm happy. And they're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do next? Right? I see some of you nodding your head that makes sense. This kind of thing actually tends to affect men more than women, because women are more likely to be willing to feel that energy and talk about that energy. So if you're a man, I'm going to really encourage you to get out of your head today, and as I'm talking or as you're thinking about what you're learning, if you're feeling any glitches in your gut, if you feel that little twinge in your gut, ask yourself, what's under that? What is that all about? Is she hitting something that I don't want to admit to myself? And if I am, bravo for you, because that's where we start. That's where we start to clear that out, to really shift and change your life. So when I was working with Nadia, one of the things that she believed, and she didn't recognize it until we really started working on clearing, was that she wasn't good enough and she didn't deserve to be wealthy. She came from a wealthy family and she felt like she'd never done anything to deserve that wealth. So we did some work together where we cleared away her personal stuck emotions and beliefs. And within 8 days from that session that we did, money actually started flowing, and she made $298 million in 8 days. So those are the kinds, and here she talks about it herself, those are the kinds of things that we want to do. Will you make $298 million? I don't know. You may. But when you clear away those stuck emotions and those stuck beliefs, that's when your life really starts to shift. So very quickly, I want to tell you about the 4 components of the point of power, or the point of creation. There are your thoughts, what it is that you're thinking. And, if you're thinking, I deserve a lot of success, I deserve great relationships and a healthy body, but your beliefs don't fit that, the beliefs that you have at your core, if they don't fit that, your beliefs are going to overrule your thoughts every time because they're stronger. So your beliefs are connected to the feelings in your body. Your body was designed to provide you with information. When you feel the hairs on the back of your neck rise, that's a remnant of what's left over, but your body was actually designed to do a lot more than that. Your thoughts and your emotions are tied together. So let's say you're driving down the road and somebody cuts you off and you start spinning around and looping, and what a horrible driver they are. Those are your emotions. Your feelings go with your core beliefs. When they're all in alignment, which is what we want to talk about today, when they're all in alignment, that's when you pierce the quantum veil, and that's when you start creating the success that you want. Everybody with me so far? Am I going too fast? No. Okay, good. So we're sending out all day, every minute of every day, energy to the universe. We're telling the universe what we want, and we're receiving back what it's sending us. When we have those clear messages, that's when it becomes easy. So for those of you who are in business, this can really affect your business. And I'll give you a quick example. Let's say you go into a sales conversation with somebody, and in your head, I'm smart and I'm confident and I'm going to make this sale. But in your body, you're saying, I'm not sure I'm good enough. I'm not sure I believe in my service or my product. The person that you're talking to is going to feel that disconnect. And we actually have machines that can measure it. So this isn't just something that we think is true. There are actual machines that can measure this. And so they feel the disconnect, and they may not know why they don't trust you, but they don't trust you. And if you're losing sales, if you're not getting the level of revenue that you want, that is an area that you've got to get into alignment, that point of power. And as I said, I'm going to send you all of these slides, so you're going to be able to take a look at this yourself and remember what that point of power is. So as we go through this, I want you to keep thinking about the fact that using quantum physics and working at the quantum level is more about feeling than thinking. And two things that we want to do in our meditations as we do the guided journey into the quantum field in life in general is we want to embody two concepts: oneness and wholeness. So oneness is that we are one with everything. Source is one with everything. We are one with everything. We're one with every other person. I am you, you are me. We're one with the animals, the plants, everything in the universe. There is no separation unless we create it. And when we create separation from other people, when I judge you, I create separation. And that means I create separation from source, which is more powerful than I will ever be. In addition to that, there's wholeness. We want to live a life of wholeness. We are whole always within ourselves if we're in alignment with source. Our bodies are whole, our cells are whole, our abundance is whole, everything is whole. So as you go through your life and as you learn this, this isn't a one-time thing. This is a new life. This is a new way of being in life. So as you be one with everything, and as you be whole with everything in your life and in your body, you are one with source, and there's nothing more powerful than that. So one of the things that's really important with this is don't kill the frog. I have a client that I'm working with, and we talk about quantum physics, and he keeps wanting to dissect it. He wants to pick it apart and know every little detail about it. And what I keep saying to him, he's struggling, honestly, he's struggling. And what I keep saying to him is, if you want to know how a frog works, you watch it and experience it as it swims and as it sticks its tongue out and grabs a fly. When you take your knife and cut into it, you don't ever get to see how the frog works, and you kill the frog. The exact same thing is true for what you're learning today and for using quantum physics. When you try to dissect it, I don't believe that I have, and I don't know anyone who does have yet, maybe at some point in the future, the ability to intellectually explain every component of quantum physics. I've been studying it for 30 years. I certainly can't. When you try to do that, you kill the magic of it. Does that make sense to everyone? So don't try to kill the frog. Learn what you're learning, play with it, have fun with it. Children are great manifestors. My daughter can manifest anything she wants. She's far better than I am because she's not in her head. She plays with it. So I'm going to invite you to stay out of your head, stay in your body, and play with this. Okay, so what are the 3 steps of the formula? And we're going to get into this when we do the guided journey. But the first one is allowing and receiving. So as I start my day, I will do a guided journey. I'll guide myself in a journey. And I start with reminding myself that I am one with everything. There is no separation. I am whole within myself. My finances are whole. My body is whole. Everything about me is whole. I am source. But one of the things that we as humans, and I'm guilty of this too, is we don't just allow the magic to happen in our lives. We don't just allow the creation to happen. We want to control it. I want as an example, I want a new car, and it's a specific car, and rather than just opening it up and saying, I'm going to just allow and receive, deliver it to me, I might start with, okay, I need to close this many clients and save this amount of money, and I have to pay off this debt first. And I get into all of the mechanics of the details rather than just allowing and receiving. So that's the first step of the formula. The second step of the formula is, have you ever heard anyone say, you've got to find your passion, or sign up for my program and I'll teach you how to find your passion? That assumes that your passion is outside of yourself. And for those especially who struggle with this, it's not. It's within yourself. Your passion, stop for a moment and close your eyes with me. And I want you to feel into your solar plexus, feel into your gut, and feel the joy of your existence. Say to yourself, I exist. I am. I exist. I exist. I exist in the fullness of the universe, of everything I want. I am. I exist. I am joy. I am peace. Can you feel that excitement even just a little bit? Can you feel it? Yeah? Feel the excitement of that. Did you want to say something, Ryan? No? Okay. So when you are truly connected to the source within, that fuels 100% of everything in your life and that you want. So you don't have to find the passion of the job. Several years ago, as I was starting my business career, I was leaving the California Senate, and I was very passionate about what I was doing. I was saving the world, I was creating jobs, and I was helping children who were on the verge of getting into trouble, helping to save them. And then I had my daughter, and she was the most incredible thing that I'd ever done in my life. She was my passion. And the problem is you can't monetize your child. So before, I was making money through my passion. And then I totally lost all of that for a few years until I discovered that when I fueled myself with the passion of myself, the passion of my source, I didn't need a job to keep me going. I didn't need clients to keep me going or the next thing. I could live my passion just by living my life. And I can't describe how incredible that feels, because it's like you're your own fuel source. So that's step 2. The third step, and I'm going to, if we don't do it today, I'm going to ask you to do this when we're finished today, is step into being. And what that is becoming the new who you want to be. So we're going to use money because it's an easy example. So let's say you're struggling financially and it's not working for you. So you have an identity right now of the person who is struggling for money. And you're walking around every day. You sit a certain way, you smile a certain way, you put your makeup on or do your hair or have conversations in a certain way, and that is the person who is struggling for money. I want you to become the person who is fully 100% abundant. So I want you to practice this. I want you to walk around as the new person who is rich, who's got all the money that you need. I want you to talk that way. Have you ever noticed how when you talk to somebody, if you're in that mode of struggle, when you talk to people, you maybe talk a little hesitantly, or you look down because you're a little embarrassed, or you tell the story of, yeah, I'm not making the money yet. I don't know why. That is the person that you were. Fully become, act it, And I'm not saying that you lie. I'm not saying you fill out an application for a loan and say you've got $10 million in the bank when you can't afford to pay off the loan. I'm not suggesting that, but what I am saying is start acting the person that you want to be. You'll start shifting the energy in your body, and you'll start feeling the person that you want to be. And the final component of step 3 is gratitude. That is the universal signature for it is done. It's done. You don't have to ask for it anymore. It's done. So just start saying, I'm thankful, thank you, whether you thank God or source or the universe, whatever it is, start saying thank you and feeling the energy of gratitude. Feel it running through your body, because that tells the universe, I have complete and total faith. I'm not begging for it. I'm not noticing that it's not there. I have complete and total faith that it is. Everybody with me so far? We doing good? Okay. So the next piece of that, as we're starting out, is uncovering what it is that's keeping whatever we want from us. What is it? So the one question that I always ask, I ask this all day, every day. I teach my clients and students in my classes to ask this question, and that's what's under that. So if you don't have what you want in your life, let's say you want $1 million a year and you don't have it. Why don't you have it? What's under that? Hey, I don't know, Ryan, if it might be fun, since you know this question, would you like to run through just a really quick example of how what's under that works?
Okay, I'm down. Oh boy.
Okay. All right. So what's something that you want that's not working for you?
I mean, I guess we can stick with financials and say we want to build a 7-figure business.
Okay.
We want to go from 6 figures to 7 figures.
Okay. So why isn't that happening for you?
Oh boy. I a little bit of, I think, of fear of, when I say asking for money, is under or devaluing ourselves a little bit, scared to charge like what our true value is.
Okay. And what do you think is under that?
The fear of people saying no, people rejection.
Okay. And what's under that?
Being no one and not having an identity.
Okay.
I don't like, if people reject me, then there's a sense of like loneliness, lonesome, and I don't have I guess an identity.
Okay. And what's under that?
I think it's similar in the sense of um not really having a purpose in life. Like you live a lonesome life, you don't have people around you because people reject you. So you're like the person that just sits at home and never gets out and doesn't ever truly live.
Okay. And if you don't truly live, then what's under that?
You're dead.
Okay.
And I don't mean physically, but I just mean like you live. I view death in a sense of not so much I'm not breathing, but in a sense of like death from, like I feel like that we all have some sense of purpose to serve in some kind of way, you know. And if we sit at home and feel rejection and loneliness, then we're we're basically doing a disservice to those around us.
Okay. So is your life for you to live, joyfully, or is your life for other people?
I can now it's pushing more towards me, but I can honestly say it was definitely for the longest time to serve others. It was
Okay.
always putting people before myself.
Okay. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with service, ever giving
Right.
people and loving people. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. But take what you just said and what's under that.
What's under
You're feeling that your life has to be or has had to be about other people rather than for you to live a joyful life.
it's I mean, for lack of better terms, it's very, very stressful, because there you struggle to find, I guess, a sense of joy, because I think a lot of people, like, people come and go. For a lot of people come and go, and if you're always serving others, I feel like there's a sense of, or I have lived with a sense of heartache, because people tend to let you down, and it can be forever. It can be they let you down in a day or a month, but there's a sense of you're constantly trying to do for others, and when you don't feel like they're giving back, then it's tough to be joyful. It's tough to be excited.
Okay. So I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit. Can I have your permission to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any messages at any point in your life that you didn't deserve or you weren't worthy of living your life for you, that it needed to be about other people? And I don't mean that somebody necessarily told you that, but maybe did you learn that through experience?
I think um a big piece of that, and I was able to, I think at this point, only a small portion disassociate, but I felt like growing up, going through high school and college, my duty, if you will, was to take over my dad's business. And I knew all throughout college I didn't want to do that, but I continued to try to force it. Um, I obviously decided not to do that, but I think that there is a piece of me left that feels maybe I let him down a little bit because he was banking on that, or that's what he expected, or that's what he's wanted. He's never verbally said that, but I think there's a sense of feeling in there of that.
Okay. So if you get to what is at the heart of what's under that, and there may be more levels than this, but if it's a sense of I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving of joy because I've got to keep serving other people, what kind of relief could you get if you could clear that out?
Massive, because I can even say I think right now in with Mike and I, my business partner, is I think that's, as we've kind of delegated roles, and I firmly believe, and this is why I think I have to work so hard all the time, is because I'm in fear of, if I'm not doing something visible to him, there's a fear of, oh, I don't need him, I can do this on my own type thing. Even though that's, I mean, he's never even like put that feeling out there, but that's my inner fear, is if I'm not always doing, he might leave me.
Okay. And what if the value that you provided to all of the kids that you work with, to your business partner, to your girlfriend, what if the value that you provided was that you were just such a source of joy and light because you were living your life joyfully for you?
believe it or not, in my gut, now I'm about to contradict myself because I was about to say I know they would be happy. Here we are, thinking about them and not myself. Yeah, I know deep down there would be a huge sense of relief because I don't have to work as hard as I do, and I have taken a step back. But I know there's a whole nother level of not having to work as hard as I do. I guess it's getting myself to believe that.
Right. So I believe that life is meant to be joyful and fun. We are here to experience life. We've been taught through hundreds and hundreds of years of cultural control that we've got to work really hard, nose to the grindstone, we've got to sweat, all of that. We've got to serve other people to the detriment of ourselves. We're putting ourselves in stress and destroying our own minds and bodies and drinking too much and eating too much and all of the things that we do. If we could let all of that go, really get under it, Ryan, and if you could say, my life is meant to be about joy. And I'm certainly not saying, go out and rob banks and all of that. That's not what I mean by joy. I mean, you get up every morning and you go, you know what? This is what I'm going to do today. For me, it might be going for a swim or kayaking or something like that, things that I love to do. What if your life was about that?
Yeah, that would be that's the dream life. And I experienced that on a very small level of when I get up very early in the morning to have that time to myself. And even Mike's like, don't come in the morning. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, that's the time I actually enjoy when it's like to myself, because for an hour and a half, 2 hours, I don't think about things that have to be done. I kind of imagine and create and feel and believe all the wonderful things that I do want to do each and every day. And then when you punch in, so to speak, it's like I shift back into, I guess, my old self a little bit.
Okay. So what if you could maintain that? And I'm talking to all of you now. What if you could get down to, and Ryan, I don't know if we got to the absolute bottom of what's under
Right.
that, but I'm hoping everyone can see, and I hope you felt like we kind of got down a couple of layers of where we need to start. Everybody get that? Everybody, if anyone's not following along, if it's not making sense, unmute yourself and let me know, because I want to make sure everybody's following along. So when we continually ask what's under that, we're so big on dealing with the surface of, well, I'm really stressed out because I didn't close that deal. I think I'll go home and I'll have a couple of scotches or martinis or something. We're so accustomed to living on the surface. That's why we're not clearing this out. But when we get down underneath, if you've got a sickness or a wound that's deep, if you don't heal that wound that's deep, if you don't figure out what that is, that's when we run into trouble. And so I continually asking that question, what's under that, helps you really figure out what the source is. The other question is, what's the opposite of that? So throughout your day, do you ever find yourself frustrated or angry or judging other people, judging a situation? Anyone ever experienced that? Frustrated, angry?
Definitely judging.
Okay, so what's the opposite of that? Does somebody else want to jump on and give me something that you're either judging or that you're angry about or that you don't like? Anyone want to jump on? No? Okay, so what the opposite of that is, let's say you get really angry about something. You tried to close a deal with a client and it just didn't work, and they were very difficult and wouldn't hear what you had to say. What is the opposite of that? I feel angry, I'm mad, whatever. What happens is, remember we talked about how your thoughts and emotions project out and your beliefs and your feelings draw in? So when you're feeling angry, you're saying to the universe, to source, give me more things to feel angry about, because that's how it works. When you notice that you're judging or that you're angry or you're feeling a negative emotion, ask what's the opposite of that. I am angry. Okay, I'm going to feel joy. Stop for a minute right now and call in the energy and frequency of joy. Call it into your body. Feel the joy. If you have to remember a joyful time to access that, it's okay. You'll learn how to do it without having to come up with a memory. But just feel the joy. Can you feel the joy in your body? Can you feel it? Allow it to come in. Feel the joy, the excitement of joy. It's fun. It's delicious. And when you're feeling joy or peace or love, you can't hold an opposite emotion. Your body can't hold both of them at the same time. And this is a great thing to start doing right away. Every time you feel something, start to notice when you're feeling a negative emotion and call in the opposite of it, because that will immediately stop the signals to the universe saying, give me the negative. And it will tell the universe, give me the positive. This is what I want. Everybody following along with me? Everybody there? Can you feel the joy? Can you feel it? What I want to do now is I want to guide you in a trip to the quantum field. Is everybody ready for that? You up for it? Hi, this is Deborah Bringelson. I hope you got a lot of value out of session 1 of Practical Quantum Physics for Business and Life. Hey, look, I know what you want is to just understand how to flip the switch and make the changes in your life and your business so that it flows better, it's easier, revenue's coming in as you desire, and your struggle drops dramatically. That's exactly what I want for you, and that's exactly why I created this free class. So step 2 is tomorrow. You're going to receive in your email a guided process that will help you pierce the quantum veil and explore your best life and your best business in the quantum field. So tomorrow, when you get up, take a look for an email from me, Deborah Bringelson, and download the guided process. You can download it into your MP3 player. And then the most important thing is to actually do the process with me. Look, I don't want you to be tied to me forever and have to rely on me. What I want is for you to understand how to do this for yourself. And that's what tomorrow is all about. But it doesn't stop there. This process is one that will help you understand how to do this for yourself. And the best way to do that is to repeat it until you're ready to fly on your own. My favorite time of day to do this process is first thing in the morning as you're waking up or as you're drifting off to sleep. Do it then. You'll have greater access. Your mind will get out of the way more easily for you, and repeat it as many times as you're comfortable. I'd love to see you doing this every day until you're ready to fly on your own. Your success is my success, and I'm wishing you the greatest love and light in everything you do. Check your email. Thank you.